The sound came without warning, soft, deliberate footsteps echoing from above. At first, Sarah froze, thinking maybe she had misheard. The television was off, the night was silent, and she was completely alone. But there it was again, the unmistakable creak of floorboards. Her heart pounded as she stared at the ceiling, a ceiling that led nowhere. Because Sarah didn't live in a two-story house. She lived in a single-floor apartment. The thought sent a chill through her chest. This wasn't just a random noise. She knew the rhythms of her home. The hum of the refrigerator, the pipes rattling when water ran, the faint buzz from the street lamp outside her window. But footsteps? Heavy, human footsteps directly above her? That wasn't possible. At least, it shouldn't have been. Sarah had moved into this place only a month ago, drawn by its quiet location and affordable rent. She had imagined it as her safe haven, somewhere she could start over after leaving behind a difficult chapter of her life. But tonight, that safe haven suddenly felt like a trap. The walls seemed to close in as she listened, every nerve in her body screaming that something wasn't right. Her mind raced through explanations. Could there be an attic she didn't know about? Was someone on the roof, walking back and forth in the middle of the night? Or worse, had someone actually found a way inside? The silence between each step was almost more terrifying than the sound itself, stretching out like a cruel game of suspense. Sarah's breathing grew shallow as she debated what to do. Should she call the police, grab the phone, and whisper for help? Or would that somehow alert whoever, or whatever, was up there? The uncertainty gnawed at her. She reached for the lamp by her bedside, her hand trembling, and gripped it as if it could shield her from the unknown. Then, just as she convinced herself it might have stopped, the footsteps moved again. This time, directly above her bed. The question wasn't just who was up there, but how they were there at all. And before Sarah could take another breath, a new sound followed. The slow, dragging scrape of something heavy shifting across the ceiling. Sarah didn't move. She couldn't. Every muscle in her body was tense, listening to the slow, dragging sound above her head. The lamp in her hand felt heavier by the second, though she gripped it like a lifeline. She thought about bolting for the front door, but the thought of stepping into the open hallway while something or someone shifted above her was paralyzing. This wasn't how she had imagined her new start. Just weeks ago, Sarah had packed everything into 2 small suitcases and left behind the chaos of the city. Her old apartment had been loud, cramped, and filled with memories she wanted to forget. The quiet neighborhood where she now lived was supposed to be different, a place where the silence meant safety, not dread. She remembered how relieved she had felt signing the lease, how the landlord had smiled when handing her the keys. Perfect for someone looking for peace, he had said. But tonight, that peace had turned into something suffocating. Every creak from above seemed louder in the stillness, pressing against her chest. Sarah tried to rationalize it. Maybe there was an attic, maybe the building wasn't exactly what she thought. Yet, she remembered the tour clearly. No second floor, no hidden stairs, no mention of any attic space. The apartment was simple, too simple for there to be anyone walking above her. Her mind drifted to the landlord. He had seemed kind, but oddly vague when she asked about the building's history. Something about his eyes had made her wonder if there were details left unsaid. At the time, she brushed it off. Now, in the dead of night, she replayed every word, searching for what she might have missed. The footsteps resumed, this time lighter, faster, as though whoever was above had changed their pace. Sarah's breath caught. A part of her wanted to scream, to shout that she knew someone was there. But another part warned her to stay silent, to keep listening. Fear rooted her to the bed, her thoughts racing back to childhood nights when she swore she heard whispers in empty rooms. Back then, her parents would reassure her. Tonight, there was no one to tell her it was just her imagination. A dull thud echoed above, followed by silence so heavy it made her ears ring. She glanced toward the window. Outside, the street lamp flickered, throwing shadows across her living room. The shadows seemed to move, though nothing outside did. She tried to convince herself it was a trick of the light, but the unease only grew. Sarah's hand tightened around the lamp. She realized she wasn't just afraid of the footsteps. She was afraid of what they meant. If someone was above her, then her safe space was already broken. If no one was there at all, if the sound had no explanation, then she was facing something even worse, the unknown. The ceiling groaned again, and this time, the sound came with a whisper. The whisper came so faintly Sarah almost convinced herself it wasn't real. Almost. It brushed against her ears like a draft, carrying no clear words, just the suggestion of a voice, low, drawn out, and undeniably human. She gripped the lamp tighter, her knuckles white, her pulse racing so fast it hurt. Her instinct screamed to call the police, but another thought tugged at her. What if they don't believe me? She had only just moved into this apartment. No visible break-ins, no evidence of anyone above her. Just her word against the silence. And what if this really was all in her head? That fear struck deeper than any noise from the ceiling. That maybe she wasn't escaping her past at all. Because Sarah had been here before. Not with footsteps, but with doubt. After the accident 2 years ago, when her younger brother had died in her care, people whispered that she wasn't the same. They told her she was imagining things, that grief was clouding her mind. Even therapy sessions circle back to the same point. Maybe what you're experiencing isn't real, Sarah. It made her furious back then, and the anger lingered even now. She had sworn to herself that in this new place, she would prove she was strong, stable, and in control. But tonight, as the whisper gave way to another dragging sound, she wasn't sure anymore. The silence pressed in again, followed by the faint rattle of her kitchen window. Her head snapped toward it. A shadow shifted outside, just a tree branch swaying in the wind. She told herself, but her gut twisted. If she called the police and they found nothing, she'd be branded paranoid. If she didn't call and something was really there, she'd pay the price. That was her dilemma. Risk being disbelieved again, or risk becoming a victim. She forced herself to stand. The wooden floor beneath her bare feet felt icy, grounding her even as her body trembled. With each cautious step toward the hallway, she tried to steady her breathing. Her mind kept flashing back to her landlord's odd pause when she asked whether anyone had lived here before. Had he hesitated just slightly before answering? She reached the edge of the hallway when a sudden knock rattled her front door. Sharp, urgent. She froze mid-step. The sound above her stopped instantly, as though whoever, or whatever, had been moving up there was listening too. Her chest tightened. Who would knock at this hour? Through the peephole, she saw nothing but the empty hallway. The knocking came again, louder this time, vibrating through the thin wood of the door. Her heart pounded so violently she thought it might give her away. 2 threats now, something unseen above, and someone, or something, at her door. And then, from behind the door, a man's voice. Sarah, open up. You know me. The problem was she didn't. The voice outside the door was steady, too calm for the hour, too certain for a stranger. Sarah, I'm here. Open up. Her breath caught. No one knew her here. No one should even know her name. She pressed her back against the wall, the lamp still clutched in her trembling hand. Her thoughts scrambled for answers. Was it the landlord? A neighbor she hadn't met? Or something far worse? Someone who had been watching her all along? Above her, the ceiling creaked again. Whatever was up there hadn't gone away. The knocking grew more insistent, and with each slam of fist against wood, the footsteps above shifted closer to the front of her apartment, as if the two forces, whoever was outside and whoever was inside, were in sync. Her skin prickled. Sarah, I need to talk to you, the man said again, firmer now. You're not safe. Not safe. The words twisted in her mind. Was that a warning or a trap? She thought about yelling back, but her voice felt locked in her throat. Memories from her past flared. She remembered the night of her brother's accident, the moments before it happened, when she froze instead of acting. She had lived with the guilt ever since. Was this another test? Another moment where hesitation could cost her everything? Her phone lay on the table, only a few steps away. But to reach it, she'd have to move into the open living room, directly beneath the shifting weight above. Every step risked drawing attention. Still, Standing frozen meant surrendering control. She forced herself forward. One step. Two. The floor groaned faintly beneath her feet. She winced, waiting for a reaction. The footsteps above followed her movement exactly. Her blood ran cold. She lunged for the phone, grabbing it in a desperate swipe. The screen lit her face, a glow far too bright in the darkness. She dialed, but before the number was complete, the voice outside snapped louder. "Don't call anyone." The knock turned into a pounding, shaking the frame of the door. Sarah's thumb hovered over the call button. How'd he know? Was he watching her? From the ceiling, a sudden, violent crash sent dust raining down onto the floor. Something, or someone, had slammed against the boards above with full force. Sarah's scream caught in her throat. The pounding at the door stopped. Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Then the voice, lower, almost urgent. "They're already inside. Sarah, listen to me. If you don't open this door right now, you won't make it out." Her hand trembled over the phone. Who was she supposed to believe? The stranger at her door demanding trust, or the unseen presence above that seemed to track her every move? The walls around her felt alive, each creak and shift amplifying the truth. The apartment wasn't empty. And as her phone slipped slightly from her grip, another sound joined the chaos. The faint click of her bedroom door slowly swinging shut on its own. The bedroom door clicked shut with a finality that made Sarah's stomach lurch. Her grip on the phone faltered, the glowing screen trembling in her hand. Before she could move, the voice outside cut through the silence again, this time sharper, urgent, and commanding. "Sarah, you have to trust me. Don't stay in there." Every instinct screamed at her to keep the door locked. But then the ceiling groaned again, the weight above dragging across the boards, circling as though whatever was up there was choosing its moment to strike. Her mind fractured between two threats, one seen, one unseen. And then came the twist she hadn't expected. From outside, the man spoke again, louder, pressing his mouth close to the wood of the door. "I was the last tenant, the one who lived there before you. He doesn't let us leave, Sarah. That's why I came back." Sarah froze. The landlord, the hesitation, the strange, rehearsed smile. A jolt of recognition shot through her as puzzle pieces she had ignored started to connect. Her chest tightened. If this man was telling the truth, then whoever, or whatever, was upstairs hadn't just appeared tonight. It had always been here, waiting, and maybe the landlord had known. But another voice clawed at the back of her mind. What if it's a lie? What if opening the door is the mistake that ends everything? Her phone slipped from her grasp and clattered onto the table. The screen went black. Above, a new sound emerged, different this time. Not footsteps, not dragging, whispering. Dozens of overlapping voices, rising and falling, speaking words she couldn't understand. They bled through the ceiling like water through cracked wood, surrounding her in a suffocating chorus. Sarah pressed her palms over her ears, her breath ragged. "Open the door!" the man shouted again. His fist slammed hard against the wood, matching the frantic rhythm of the whispers above. "He'll trap you if you don't." Her heart raced. Was she already trapped? She stumbled backward, torn between choices. Her eyes darted to the bedroom door. It had shut silently, but now a thin sliver of light glowed beneath it, pale, flickering, not belonging to any lamp she owned. Something inside that room wanted her attention. Something upstairs wanted her fear. And something outside demanded her trust. For the first time since the nightmare began, Sarah realized she couldn't escape all three. She had to choose. But before she could act, the man's voice outside shifted, warmer, softer, chillingly familiar. "Sarah," he whispered in her brother's voice, "you left me once. Don't leave me again." Her legs gave out, and she sank to the floor. The hallway, the ceiling, the door, all closing in on her. And now, the truth was even more terrifying. One of them knew her deepest wound. Sarah's body shook as the voices pressed in from every direction. The ceiling whispering, the door pounding, the bedroom glowing with its impossible light. Her brother's voice echoed again, softer now, as if coaxing her. Don't leave me again. Her grip tightened around the lamp, the only weapon she had. She felt the weight of every choice she had failed to make in the past, every hesitation that haunted her. Not this time. Forcing herself upright, she staggered toward the bedroom door. The glow beneath it pulsed faintly, as though alive. Her hand hovered over the handle. Behind her, the front door rattled violently, the man outside, shouting in a frenzy. "Don't go in there. That's what he wants." The ceiling above cracked with a deafening groan. Dust rained down, streaking her hair and face. A jagged line split across the plaster, revealing the faintest shadow of fingers pushing through from the other side. Her chest burned. The landlord, the whispers, the brother's voice, all of it tangled into one horrifying truth. Whatever lived here fed on memory, on guilt, on the things people tried hardest to bury. It hadn't chosen her at random. It had chosen her because of the wound she carried. Her palm gripped the doorknob. For a single heartbeat, silence. Then she yanked the door open. The room was no longer hers. The walls were smeared with shadow, the bed gone, replaced by a hollow void that stretched impossibly deep. In the center stood a figure, familiar and devastating. Her brother, pale, still, his eyes wide with accusation. "You didn't save me," he whispered. His voice was fragile, cracked. "Stay with me this time." Tears blurred Sarah's vision. Every instinct pulled her toward him. She took one step forward, then stopped. Something in his eyes flickered wrong, too sharp, too deliberate. It wasn't him. It never had been. Her chest heaved as she raised the lamp high, gripping it with every ounce of strength. "You're not my brother." The thing hissed, the shadows around it twisting violently. The ceiling above split wider, and the voices screamed as if the whole apartment recoiled at her defiance. With a raw cry, Sarah hurled the lamp into the figure. The bulb shattered in a burst of blinding light. The shadows shrieked, curling back, unraveling like smoke. The glow under the door vanished. The ceiling fell silent. And then, nothing. Sarah collapsed to her knees, gasping, the apartment eerily still. The front door hung quiet. No pounding, no voice. Just silence. She dared to hope it was over, until her phone buzzed on the floor. Its dead screen flickered to life, displaying a single message. "Welcome home, Sarah." Perfect for someone looking for peace. The words she had heard the landlord say, typed word for word. Her hands went cold. It hadn't left. It was inside her phone now, watching, waiting. Sarah sat on the floor, the faint glow of her phone casting long shadows across the room. Her breathing slowed, though her heart still pounded like a drum in her chest. The message remained on the screen, static and unchanging, as if mocking her. She wanted to throw the phone, smash it to pieces, but something inside her knew it wouldn't matter. Whatever had reached for her tonight, it wasn't bound to walls, doors, or ceilings. And yet, for the first time since the footsteps began, she felt strangely calm. She had looked it in the face, her grief, her guilt, her fear, and she had fought back. It hadn't broken her. Not this time. The apartment was quiet now. Too quiet. No whispers, no footsteps, no voices calling her name. She glanced at the ceiling. The crack was gone, plaster smooth as if untouched. The bedroom door stood open, revealing nothing but her ordinary, messy room. It almost felt as though none of it had happened. Almost. But the lamp shards at her feet, the dust in her hair, and the message on her phone told her otherwise. She thought about the man at the door, the one who claimed he had lived here before. Was he real, or another mask the thing had worn to lure her? She'd never know for sure. And the landlord? His too smooth words echoed differently now. Maybe he hadn't lied. Maybe peace was just his way of saying what lived here would never truly let go. Sarah stood, brushing the dust from her clothes. She looked at the door and considered leaving, running into the night, never looking back. But she stopped. Running was what she had always done before. From her grief, from her guilt, from herself. This time she stayed. Not because she wanted to, but because she understood. What had haunted her tonight wasn't only inside the apartment. It was inside her. The loss of her brother, the doubt, the silence she carried. All of it had made her vulnerable. But facing it, surviving it, had given her something too. Strength, clarity, the knowledge that peace isn't found in running away, but in standing still long enough to confront what chases you. She picked up her phone. The message stared back at her, cold and final, perfect for someone looking for peace. With a slow breath, she powered the phone off. For now, that was enough. The street lamp outside flickered once more, and the room fell into darkness. Sarah whispered to herself, a promise that wasn't just for tonight. I'm not afraid of you anymore. And for the first time in years, she almost believed it. If you've ever faced your own shadows, whether they whisper in empty rooms or live only in your mind, remember this: fear feeds on silence. Share your story, find your voice, and never let what haunts you decide where you belong.